Okay, so in the previous session, we have seen functions. Okay, in today's session, you'll be learning how to define class and create objects from that class. Okay, so let me just provide a title in here. So what we are discussing is Dart class. Okay, so Dart basically Dart programming language is a it's a OOP language. Okay, everything is object in this. Everything is an object. And object actually contains, data and functions. So let me tell you what is object. Okay. So what is object? Object basically it's a real entity. Okay. Object is real entity which requires space in memory, which needs space in memory. Okay. And it's it describes the state. Okay. Describes actually it's also called state. Okay. So it's object contains, okay, what object contains? Let me tell you, it contains, state. State means variables, okay? It contains variables and behaviors. Behaviors means functions, okay? And in the previous session, we have seen the functions, okay? All right. So what is state? State means it describes the value that the object has, okay? What is state? State, it is the value for the object. And what is behavior? The behavior are actions. Okay, it is an action that object can do. Okay, and manipulate. Manipulate means changing the data. Okay, manipulate. It's a state. State meaning data. Okay, so in bracket I'm writing that. Okay, so here state meaning data. Okay, and behavior means functions that you can find it from the this part. Okay. All right. So to create the object, we need to define a class first. So how do we create an object? Okay, for that we need to have a class. Okay, so defining class. Okay, so what is class basically? Class it's a blueprint. Okay, it is a blueprint of for creating objects. Okay, for creating objects. If you want to build a house, okay, let's say you want to build a real house. Okay. So you don't start immediately as soon as you think of creating the house, building the house. Okay. First, what you do, you go to, civil architecture, you create a blueprint of the house. Okay. Let's say you want to create or build a house. Okay. So build a house. What you do, you create a, blueprint for the house. Create a blueprint for the house. And this blueprint is nothing but a class. Okay, this blueprint is nothing but a class. Meaning what? See, in this blueprint, everything is mentioned. Okay, with dimensions. Okay, when real entity, real house, when you create. Okay, so let's say when real house is built. Okay, then it will be as per your blueprint. Okay, then it will be built as per the dimensions mentioned in the blueprint. Basically, it follows the blueprint. Okay. So that real house is called object. That real house is called an object. So object is useful. Class is not useful. Why? Because real object needs space. If you want to rebuild the real house, you need a space, isn't it? You need to, buy open plot, right? You need to buy some land, and then only you can build a house on it. So real object needs memory, real object needs space. Okay, so that's why object is called real entity and class is called blueprint, because when you want to build a house, even though you don't have a plot, you don't have a land, but still you can have the blueprint of your house. Okay, it's just you need a piece of paper. Okay, and that's it. So class doesn't require memory. Actually, the object of the classes needs memory. Okay, so objects of the classes needs memory. Let's say how many objects that you can create for a class. You can create n number of objects. That means we have, we have one blueprint, okay, for our house, okay, but we can create, you know, n number of houses, n number of houses. That means, the row houses concept you must have heard. Row houses what? Means all the houses, have, same number of rooms, okay, same design, okay, same color, okay, same furniture, same kitchen, everything is same in that, okay. That means that supposedly we created 10 houses, okay. Then it's following, you know, actually one blueprint. So one blueprint and you built it 10 objects. It's 10 houses. Okay, we built it 10 houses. So that house is actually the object. So real entity is called the object. Okay. So that blueprint is called a class. Okay. That real entity is called a class. So all right. So this is what the concept is. So class doesn't require actual memory, but the objects of that class needs memory. So how to define a class now? Okay, let's get into that detail. Okay, so we need to define a class. So class keyword you have to use, curly braces you have to use. Okay, and so what you have to do is then you can create a class. Okay, let's say I want to create arithmetic class. Okay, so I can say my numbers. My numbers is a class, and here I am creating a my numbers class. So how to create, objects for that class? It's very easy. Okay. All you have to do is, you know, here define the now, like it's a type. Okay. Like you want to define integer number. What you do if you want to define an integer number, you define the type of that, isn't it? You define the type of it. So it's like, you say integer x. You're defining the variable is of type integer. Similarly, you have to define here that my numbers is the type and variable that you want to create in here. So I'll say OB1 is the object, and again you have to define name of the class. Actually, this is the constructor that you're calling. Okay. All right. So now this is how class is created and this is how objects are created. You can create n number of objects. There is no limit on that. Okay. But there is only one class by this name. Okay. So only one blueprint can exist by the same name. Okay. And here you can create another object OB2. Okay. All right. So in this one, the OB1 and OB2, these are the objects of the class my numbers. Okay. You can also call it as that these are instances of the class. Okay. So let's put it here. OB1 and OB2 are instance of the my numbers class. Instance means objects. Okay. And then you need to add the properties in this my numbers. Okay. So what other properties? See, class has data. Okay. Let me tell you, class has data and class has functions. Okay. So let me tell you how it relates with the real world. Okay. See, let's say a hospital is there. Okay. Let's say we will create one more class. Okay. Class hospital. Now in the hospital, two important things are there, like patients and data. Okay, so patients are there and the doctors are the functions actually. Okay, so here we write doctors. See, patients are data actually. Okay, let's think of this way. Patients are data and doctors are functions. Okay. See, hospital, can you imagine a hospital which doesn't have patients? No, we cannot even call that as a hospital. Okay, only doctors are there, no patients are there, or only patients are there, no doctors are there. Okay, so hospital we call it as a hospital when the patients are there and doctors are also there. Okay, so that's how it is. Class. A class can, class have data and functions. Actually, functions role is to perform operations on the data. See, doctors, what they do, they perform operations on the patients. Okay, so that's why patients are important. That's why data is important. All right. So here data we have to create. Integer x is our data. Okay, and then integer y is our data. Okay, so we have x and y defined here. Now, what to do with these x and y? Okay, it's like, having only x, y, it's of no use because you're not performing any operations on x and y. But here, see, in hospital, it's like, having only patients, no doctors. What they will do, in that hospital when there are no doctors. So that's why we need to write in functions here that can manipulate that data. So we can say, let me check the recording, guys. Okay. So what we can do is we can create functions in here. Okay. So what you can do, you can start writing functions in this class. So how to create a functions in the class? So that is our, okay. In this one, you have to create like main function, you have to create add function. Okay. So in here, we have to say integer a and integer b. You might wonder why we are passing these values to functions, because we need to assign these values to x and y. These x and y actually, it belongs to objects. Okay, so that's why we are assigning this value. Okay, so you can say move this value. We can we are moving this, passing this value to x and y. And then later on, what you can do, you can create a function there like addition, subtraction, like that. Or you can just simply create a function, show function in there. So show function will not receive anything. Instead, it will print this x and y's value. Okay, so x is, you can say x is and y is, okay, in here. Or you can say I am in class. Okay, like this. Okay, so let's call these functions. Okay, so let's remove this hospital class. For our understanding, we can keep it here on top. Okay, so let me put it in here. Okay, so we have data and functions here. We have move function, we have show function. Okay, now it's time to call, so let's create only OB1 object. Okay, so my numbers is the class. And you can create only numbers also, because it's a class name is very lengthy. So it's a very long name. So we'll just put it numbers. Okay. Numbers is the class. So now what we do is we can create a call this one ob1 dot move and pass on like 10 and 20. Then we say ob1 dot show. Okay. So here basically what we are doing, we are creating object of that class. So as soon as you create the OB1 of this class, OB1 has X and Y. Okay. As soon as you create the instance for that class, you're actually creating, in memory, you're creating, let me put it here. In memory, you have created OB1. Okay. So this is in memory. This block is created in memory. Okay, and I will name it this block as OB1. Now OB1 has X and OB1 has Y. Okay, in the memory OB1 see OB1 has X and Y. Now you might wonder, how come OB1 has X and Y? See, OB1 has type numbers. So numbers is a class. So it has data X and Y. So all the data, OB1 has. Okay, so using OB1 you can access X and Y. Okay. So in order to assign these 10 and 20 to OB1, we have move function. So OB1 is calling move function here. OB1 is calling move function. So this move function will receive these two values, see 10 and 20. Okay, so you're calling move function. So move function gets these values. So 10 is copied into A, 20 is copied into B. And then later on, these 10 value is given to X and 20 value is given to Y. So these X and Y are, they are of X actually. So we say X is equal to 10 and Y is equal to 20. And these values are assigned to A and B. See, first it is, welcome in A and B, and then later on A gives value to X and B gives value to Y. All right. So now what we do? So see, we are just calling this function. It says I am in class. Okay. So let's run this one. Okay. Let me hide this. Click on the run button. It says I am in class. Okay. It says I am in class. So now, the other operation that we can do is we can see step by step. Okay. So let's say I want to assign these values X and Y, you know, like let's not do it from the function directly. If you want to assign, you can do it or not. Okay. So you can do it. All right. So how you can do it? You can create n number of objects of this class. So n number of objects means what? See, when you say numbers OB1 instead of you saying OB2. Okay. So when you say OB2 dot move, OB2 dot show. So when here you say OB2 dot move, so here I am passing 5 and 3. So what happens? As soon as you say OB2 is the instance of numbers in the memory, OB1 is created. And here also some space is allocated for OB1 and OB2. And OB2 also has its own X and Y. So X is equal to 5 and Y is equal to 3. So move function, it is going to assign these values. Okay, move function, it is called move function, it is called by, OB2. So, the X is 5 here and Y is 3 here. Okay. All right. Now it's time to, again print this. Okay. Okay. So now what we do, we want to print this. Can we print it here like OB1's properties? Let's say OB1 dot, if we say print and we say OB1's X, okay, is and dollar, you know, can we print it this way? Let's find out OB1 dot X. Okay, in bracket we have to do it OB1 dot X. Okay, and then we do provide semicolon. Let's find out. Okay, it's printing X, OB1's X is 10. Okay, so let's do it in here. Okay, OB1 dot Y. Okay, I want to print OB1's Y. So you have to say OB1 dot Y. Okay, let's run that. So you can see here after move function, this 10 and 20, it is assigned to X and Y of OB1. Okay, like this in memory, it is assigned like this. Okay, X is 10 and Y is 20. So similarly, you can print OB2's X and Y. Okay, it's very easy. Just you have to change in here OB2 dot X, OB2 dot Y. Okay, let's print it. Okay, here you go. You have OB2X and OB2Y. You can modify the OB2X and OB2Y here also. Okay, let's say I want to modify the OB2's X. Okay, let's say OB2 dot X is equal to, we have to modify it to 50 and OB2 dot Y is equal to, we have to modify it to 30. Okay, after modifying, let's see what are the results. See, now OB2 says X is, first we initialize it to 5 and 3. Then we did modify X and Y of OB2. Okay. So OB2 change their X and Y values. Okay. And they are printing the reset values that has been modified. Okay. You understand now? Yes. Are you following?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very good. So now, we'll come to the point. Okay. So let's see this concept. Okay, let me comment all this part. Okay, let's not make modifications into the same code. Uh, First, you do this one, and then you can go to the next concept. So next concept. Okay. So next is cascade notations. Okay, what are the cascade notations? Okay, so cascade notations is like if I have a class. Okay, let's say I have a class. Uh, arith. Arith is a class. Okay, and in this one I have integer x. Okay, its a value is defined as zero, and I have y. Okay, then I have main function in it. Okay, so void main, and then what I can do is I can create a variable in here. Okay, so I say ob is the variable. Okay, ob1 is, and then I can provide in here the class name array. Okay, and then here I can provide two dots, and then x is equal to 10. Okay, and here we are giving values. Okay, we are not ending this here with semicolon. Okay, all right, so here x and here y is equal to 20. We are actually assigning values in here. Okay, so here we are providing now semicolon. Okay, so let me explain you this part. Okay, so it creates the object ob1. Okay, and assign its properties to the values. Okay, so it creates the object. Okay, and it assigns the values. So in this example, what we are doing, the object ob1, it is like this one. Let's say if we had to do it this way, what we could do. Okay, we will create like object like this. uh ob2 is equal to, and then array semicolon, and here object is repeating. See, ob2 dot x is equal to 100, ob2 dot y is equal to 200. Now in this case, see, ob2 is repeating many times. If it has more variables, it is repeated again and again, so in order to avoid that, okay, to make it more concise, so that provides a cascade operator. This is the cascade operator, two dots. Okay, and it allows you to chain multiple assignments, okay, on the same object. All right, so without repeating the object name, you don't have to repeat the object name. So you don't have to repeat the object name. Okay, so here we are not repeating the object name. So in that case, this is also okay. If you are used to this, you use this one. Okay, this is the new style of assigning multiple assignments, okay, on the same objects without repeating the object name. So let me put it in comment here. What is this? Okay, so it's a cascade operator. Okay, it is used to chain multiple assignments on same object without repeating the object name. Without repeating the object name. Okay, so this is the example for this. All right. So how this one is also okay, and this one is also okay. All right. Now, adding function to the class. Okay, let's add a function. So let's add a function in here. Like void. Let's say input or show. Okay. So it requires values, or we say move function. So because it moves values into uh, variables of the object. So object has x and y. So let's say x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20. Okay. Here we are directly assigning the values. Then what is the use of this a and b? These variables, actually it is used to hold the values. Let's say we don't want to do this way. Okay, we want to we already have a function in here. Okay, so let me clear this. So we already have a function move. So ob2 will call that move function. Okay, and ob2 is going to call that move function, and pass in the values 5 and 2. Okay, so what is going to happen in here? Yes, we are calling this move function. Okay, move function is getting called by OB2. So this OB2's x and y will be initialized to see 10 and 20. Why? Because this 5 values is going into A, 2 value is going into B, but we are not assigning those values. So here we need to assign these values. So now OB2's x will be 5 and OB2's y will be 2. Okay, and here OB1's x will be 10 and OB1's y will be 20. Okay, so all right, so now what is next then? You know, so next one is printing this one. All right, so how to print this one? So you can directly say print object. Okay, here we can say print OB1. Okay, here we'll say print OB1 and then semicolon. All right, and then we can say print OB2. So both objects will be printing. So let's print it. Let's check the output. See, this is telling us like what is the type for this OB1 and OB2. So these are like instances of arithmetic. Okay, so when you pass this P1 object to the print function, OB1 and OB2 objects to the print functions, okay, it converts the object into string, okay, and then it displays that this is the instance of class name arith, okay, all right. So now what you can do is if you want, okay, you want to print, let's say, okay, you want to print it inside show function. Okay, we will have one show function in here. Okay, so we'll add one function in here, show, and in here we are going to have print function, and in this we will say $x, comma $y. Okay, let's see what it prints. Okay, so if we run, we are not going to get this one. Why? Because we are not calling this show function. So OB1 or OB2 should call this one. So we are calling show function. Okay, by OB2 is calling show function. So the x and y of OB2 will be printed here. Okay, so OB2's x and y are 5 and 2. Let's run this. See, this is OB2's x and y. Okay, if you need another object, so you can create copy and paste in here, and you can say here that it's a OB1. Okay, let's comment this part. Okay, this is for your understanding only. If you want, you can keep practicing using it. Okay, so here we say 15 and here we say 25. So when we say OB1 dot move, these values will be assigned to OB1's x and y, and then show function will be printing the values of x and y of OB1. So here you see it's printing 5 and 2. This is OB2's 5 and 2, and this is 15 and 25 of OB1's. Okay, are you getting it? Are you following?
Yes, getting.
Okay. So in this one, now there is one more operator. Okay. So there is a, is operator. Okay. So is operator actually it returns. So let me put it here. Okay. What is the is operator? So we'll write it here. So we are learning is operator. Okay. And let's comment it multi-line comment. So it returns true. Okay. It returns true if an object is an instance of a class. Okay, and if object is not an instance of the class, it returns false. Okay, it returns false if the object or instance, okay, okay, object is not an instance of the class. Okay, so the is operator returns false in that case if the object is not the instance of the class. Okay, so let me give the example. So example is, that we are creating, here OB2 and OB1 object. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to here say print. You will say OB1 is arith. Okay, so we are just checking in here that is OB1 is a class arith. Okay, so it is always true. See, it is saying unnecessary type check. Try correcting this one. Okay, so it's going to print true or false. We'll find out. Okay, so let's run this one. See, it's printing true. Okay, it's of type array. So let's say if I have another class in here, okay, let's say class hospital, okay, we're just having it, a class, and we have only one variable as z. Okay, we are not doing anything, no operations, only one variable. So we just check in here that is OB1 belongs to hospital. Is OB1 is a instance of hospital. So it is going to say it's a false, that it's not the instance of this hospital. Okay, so to summarize, what is objects and classes is, so to summarize, object have states and behavior. That means objects have data and behavior. The properties, represents the object state and function, define the object's behavior. A class, it's a blueprint for creating objects. We have studied that. Using the class keyword to define a class, we have seen that. Okay. And the use of is operator, we have seen it. Okay. So you can create a very basic example out of this, as a practice, let me comment all this code and I will show it to you. Okay, let's create quickly one class. Okay, so we will be creating, we'll do copy paste. Okay, let's say we create arith class, do copy paste, main function, do copy paste. Okay, everything we do copy paste. All right, here we go. We have x and y, we have move function, we have show function, and we will have addition function. Okay, so in here we'll perform addition. Okay, so we'll bring, okay, we'll first here create integer variable is going to hold the answer. So it's going to say dollar x, sorry, x plus y. Okay, so and it's going to print the answer. Okay, if you want, you can print it in a formatted way. Addition is, and then you can say dollar answer. Okay, all right, so this is done. So you can do it, four other functions in here. So, four other functions will be, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, it says that is already defined. Let's rename all these one. So we say subtraction. Okay, let's change this sign, minus, and this here we say subtraction. And then in here it's a multiplication. Name this function as multiplication, mul, and change the output message multiplication. Here in we say division, here we divide it, okay, and here we say division. Only in less than 1 minute we have created a one function. Okay, and now we have to, this is like saying asking us to make it double. Okay, all right, no issues. And then now what we have to do, just call here. Okay, let's say OB2 is the function, OB2 is the object. It's calling, add function. Okay, and in here we are calling addition, here we are calling subtraction. OB1 will call, it's not necessary that only one object has to call, all the functions. Okay, it's not mandatory. So we say OB1 dot add, OB1 dot division. Okay, OB1 dot division, and here OB1 dot, multiplication. Okay, so here OB1 is making a call for three functions, and here it's calling two functions. Okay, let's check the results. Run it, please. Okay, it says OB1 is hospital. It's giving error. Okay, So let's get rid of this. See here is giving addition is 40, division is 0.6. Here OB1 is calling 3. Okay, here OB1 is calling 3. Okay, this is OB1's information, this is OB 2's information. Okay, I hope you understand, guys. So today we have seen, classes and objects, how to create a class and object. Okay, so in tomorrow's session we will see more of it. Okay, have a nice day. See you in the next session. Bye.